Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. You're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video, I'm going to be unboxing a Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar. Ever since I got my first Boss Katana 50 for regular guitar, I've had the thought, like, this would be a really great format for a bass amp, and it would be really useful for all the new bass players out there that need an amp that can kind of transition from home playing to gig playing and things like that. So when this got announced, I jumped on it. I hit up Sweetwater's like, can I please have this to make video, please? And also, it gave me an excuse to get a bass that I've always wanted to have, the Danelectro Longhorn here. So huge thanks to Boss for putting out a Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitars. So I could get the bass guitar that I've always wanted and, you know, film a video that makes sense. Also, if I'm gonna have a bass guitar around here, it's useful to have a bass amp for actually, you know, making bass sounds with instead of just running through the two Princetons, which are not going to be in this video. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's see what we've got in here. Candy time, guys. More candy? All right. I ended up going with the 1x10 model because I thought it would fit in the backline behind me nicely. And I'm not planning on gigging or anything like that. And I thought it would be fun to check out the bass model of the Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar. But anyways, my experience with the Boss Katana 50 for regular guitar is that it's plenty loud enough to gig with a band, to do practices and things like that, which makes it such a, a powerful crossover tool for people buying their first amp or just want a solid state amp to kick around and be kind of multifunctional as a home amp or a practice amp or a gigging amp or whatever. That's really the beauty of these things. Affordable amps that can fill a lot of roles and really help people transition from one stage of playing to the next and then figure out, if they want to buy something else later on. So I'm hoping that this will do that kind of thing, will fill that kind of role. So let's get into what we've got here. There is a lot. We've got the input, compressor and drive, type, vintage, flat, and modern. Some sort of pad thing here, gain, shape, volume, blend, dry level. I'm not a bass player. I think I should say that a bunch in this video. Not a bass player. So a lot of this is going to be new to me. Bass, low mid, with a little selector there, high mid with a selector, treble, effects, 1 and 2, channel 1, 2, 3 presets, and then the panel, master volume, tweeter on and off, power control going from standby, 1 watt, and maximum. I forget the wattage on this. 60 watts on the 1x10, 160 watts on the 2x10. So that might be the main reason to get the 2x10, to get that extra headroom. Then on the back, there is an effects loop, a power amp in, foot control, headphones out, USB auxiliary input. Then you have an XLR output with ground lift, post, pre, and direct select on it. What is this little thing? There's a little weird rubber plug. Oh, there's like a printer port. What is this for? Oh, optional BT dual adapter required for Bluetooth support. Oh, so apparently there's something that you can get to plug in there to have Bluetooth control or Bluetooth connectivity with the amp. That's interesting. All right, I think that's all of it. I'm just gonna explore this thing. I need to figure out how I'm gonna record it. I should probably put a mic on it. And then I'm just gonna have some fun playing some bass through the Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar. Oh man, sketchiest camera rig of the year, guys. I've mentioned before that I film in my garage. This is a very normal, like 1.5 car garage that I've built a set in. And to get this overhead shot, I have a camera on a tripod jammed up on top of my garage door opener. If it works, it works. And it's working right now. I don't think it's going to fall unless I decide to open up the garage door for some silly reason. Oh man, I hope I remember to take that down. So anyways, I set all the knobs somewhere where I think would be a decent starting point. I really have no idea. Let's see what it sounds like. I've got all the knobs on the Longhorn bass wide open, so the tone's not rolled back or anything like that. Sounds like it needs to get louder. Sounds like a bass amp to me. But does it sound like a bassist? Do I sound like a bassist or do I sound like a guitarist playing bass? You can be honest. You won't hurt my feelings. I know I'm not a real bassist. Not yet anyways. Maybe someday. Yeah, that sounds like a bass amp. All right, demo's over. No, let's go through some settings up here. I'm sure I'm going to barely scratch the surface of everything because there's a lot going on there. And I'm not going to get into all, the effect loop stuff and all the back panel stuff, all that. But what should I start with? I have the manual here giving me an overhead shot. Let's check out the range of the equalizer stuff because that's super important. And then I'll backtrack towards the comp drive, amp type, gain, blend, and then who knows, maybe I'll get to the effects. So here's the range of the bass control. Ooh, yeah. Feel the hair on my arm vibrating. Oh yeah, that's got a boom to it. There's stuff shaking in the garage and rattling that I've never heard shake and rattle before. I've got a big tool chest over here. And it sounds like a snare drum right now. That's a bit much. All right, now we've got low mid and high mid. You bassists get all the fun. A lot of my guitar amps don't even have a single mid to control. And you get two? It's got the little push button lights here. What does it do? Switches between frequencies for the high mid-range sound or the low mid-range sound. I was reading the wrong one. Pressing the button toggles between three types, green, red, and orange. Sounds pretty subtle. That low mid, it brings in some extra beef. Like the low has the boom, but the mid has the beef. Let's see what the high mid does. It sounds like the high mid is for scooping. Of course. You give a guitarist two mid knobs and he's gonna scoop one of them. If not both of them, right? Yeah, the high mids sound like those slapping frequencies. I don't know how to slap. Don't ask me. I'll try. I'll try to slap at the bass. I know you bassists hate it when people say that, but I'm gonna try. Am I doing it? Am I slapping the bass? Davey 504, I'm coming for you. I have no idea what I'm doing. Those settings sound a bit more apparent to me on the high mids. I think I'm generally someone who's going to want those high mids turned down quite a bit. I don't want a twangy bass. I want a deep bass. All right, on to treble. No extra button for that. Yeah, that's not me. I like bright guitars. I like deep basses. Will anyone listening to this demo on their phone speaker be able to hear anything? I need to hit up Patrick Hunter and get some tips on recording bass amps. I think that's a good bass tone to start out with. I know how to adjust the EQ if I get into some trouble and want to mess with something. So let's backtrack to the compressor and the drive. Three different light colors there. Does it tell me what they do? Oh, interesting. There's two different banks. So there's technically 6. How do I get into the extra bank? I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'll just go with the 3 that are on the front, and then I'll figure out how to get into the banks later in my personal time. I wonder if there's some kind of noise gate on that. Or maybe that's the limiter. That might be the limiter. That's why I'm not getting a bunch of extra noise right now. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was expecting. So this is probably the Boss comp. Red is probably the high band comp. And then orange is the limiter. I barely use compressor when I, use regular guitar. I wonder if I'll be a compressor user with bass. All right, try the drive now. There's 6 different settings on this as well. I have a feeling I'm not going to know how to get into the second bank, so there's just 3. I'm assuming this is booster on green, high band drive on red, and bass DI on orange. Now I really am playing bass like a guitarist. All right, let's move on to the amplifier section on the amp. There is amp type, which is vintage, flat, and modern, and then there's gain and volume. So you have drive here, and then you have more gain. You have a pad button and a shape button. More shape stuff. Shape adds a different tonal character to the amp sound. Pressing the button toggles between 3 types. All right. Let's try the different amp settings. This has been flat. Here's vintage. I should probably do this without a pick. All right, back to flat. On to vintage. I like that. That's low and round. Am I getting enough output there? On to modern. And then back to flat. I think I'll leave it on flat for the rest of this video unless I change my mind, but I like that vintage. It's just funny because I lean into like such bright, twangy guitars, but I'm kind of favoring the really deep, dark sounds with the bass amp. All right, on to gain. I don't know what I'm doing. I wasn't expecting so much dirt on this. I want to know if the gain changes with the amp settings. Sounds like it's the same gain, but different amps. You could stack that with the distortion too, and the compressor, obviously. Get myself in trouble with all that dirt. There's that pad button. I'm imagining that pulls out a certain amount of decibels from your input signal. It's probably there for your higher output pickup guitars, like your active basses and whatnot. I don't think I need that with lipstick pickups. I'm getting sketchy. I'm getting tempted to do guitar things on the bass, which I should not do. I'm sure I've already been doing them. I'm so sorry to all the bassists in the audience. I'm not a native bass player. I'm new to this. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a good time. I hope that you'll welcome me into your tribe at some point. But I am very new to the bass guitar. All right, what's next? The blend. I've had it all the way down and I don't know what it does. Adjust the level of the dry sound. What is the dry sound? Have I been hearing the dry sound or is that the wet sound? Maybe all this like amp modeling is the wet sound? Is that another gain stage? How much gain is in this bass amp? Does it blend against like the distortion or something? Yeah. Fully understand what's going on there with that dry blend. I wonder if it blends in the effects loop as well. There's a push button there which says it gives you, it switches between the frequency band in which the dry sound is blended. Now this is bass stuff. That's hardcore bass stuff and I have no idea what any of it means. Fairly low though. So what's left? The effects? I'm not going to get into presets. There's also the master volume and the tweeter on and off. Maybe I should be messing with that. There's more of those high frequencies with that tweeter on. Yeah, the tweeter buys you all sorts of high end there. Probably great for all you slappists. Davey 504 Army out there. Slapping your basses and getting all bright. I mean, this is just all nonsense. I'm just noodling nonsense. Okay, on to the effects. What do we have here? We have a stacked knob. So effect 1. What am I dealing with? That sounds like maybe a low octave, a sub octave maybe? Green. Tiwa. No, this has got to be bank B. This is heavy octave. There we go. So this will be phaser. I weirdly like that. And this must be bass synth. Ah, gee. I like that way more than I should. I'm liking these weird modulations way more than I should on bass. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I'm gonna get big into bass effects before I actually learn how to play the bass. Sometimes that's what we need though. We need new gear, we need new sounds to inspire us to keep playing, to keep having fun with an instrument. And that, you know, for some of us, that's the push that we need to keep practicing, to keep getting good at an instrument. Different attack with that synth effect. Fingers are picked. I'm going to need to figure out how to get into the other banks because I don't know how to do it right now. Let's check out the FX2, which has delays and stuff on it. There's a tap tempo button down here. This doesn't sound like a delay. This sounds like... Maybe I don't understand this part of the amp. Because that sounds like a phaser. There's a delay. Okay, I don't understand what's going on right now because orange is supposed to be reverbs, but I'm getting a delay. Maybe the manual is wrong? And then green does not sound like an analog delay or a tape echo. Getting a bunch of effects cooking here. Are those sounds that long guitarists want? Well, if you do, the Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitars has those sounds. I want to check out the volume range on it now. I've had it pretty low because that's, you know, how I record here. I don't like to blow my ears out, but I want to hear how loud it can get. And I'll try my best to judge if it gets loud enough and has enough headroom to compete with a drum. Not compete, but to match with a drum. So if you wanted to use this as a practice amp along with a band, you could do that. Or maybe even as a gigging amp. It's only 60 watts, and I know that bassists like a lot higher wattage. than guitarists do for their amps to get all that headroom. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's plenty loud here in room. I think it really depends on the drummer. It depends on the band. If you've got someone with a light touch, like a jazz drummer or something like that, you know, like the style of jazz drummer I'm thinking of, not your full on just ripping, you know, there's different, you know, a light-handed drummer with brushes or something like that, it's going to be just fine. But if you've got a heavy-handed rock drummer or just a heavy-handed drummer in general, I don't think that this amp is going to, it's not going to be able to keep up with that. I mean, you'll have low signal going on, you'll be playing with the band, but you're not going to be, you know, like your Les Claypool on top of the mix type bass signal with this. I think this is pushing more towards a home practice tool, home recording tool, kind of light gigging sort of situation where you plug it into front of house. Yeah, I don't think it's a good bass amp for if you're in a garage band playing punk rock or loud, heavy-handed stuff. I think there's a lot to work with there, though. Plenty of effects, plenty of sounds. Bassists, you're the ones with real opinions on this. Like, this is, I mean, baby's first bass amp over here, as far as I'm concerned. I have a lot to learn about bass gear and bass tone. I'll say that right now. Long time fans of the podcast and the show will get that reference. One more thing. Let's try hitting it with some external effects. I have my guitar pedal board on the floor here. And yeah, it has all its own effects built in. But I imagine bassists like pedals, the same as everyone else. I mean, Steve likes pedals with his basses. So let's see how it handles some basic stuff like overdrive and fuzz. We'll start with my 50/50 overdrive down here. Without. Here's a heavier distortion from the Aquabats Falcon Drive made by Rude Tech. Let's try a fuzz now from the Bigger Pedals Slice of Pie. There we go. That was with all of them stacked, because why wouldn't I? So what do you guys think? What do you think of the Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar? It's actually the base model Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar, because it's the 1x10. I'm curious to hear from people who have the 2x10, that's twice the wattage, to find out if that's got enough headroom to be, you know, a gigging amp, to be a garage rock, punk rock band sort of appropriate amp. I don't think this has the guts to do it. I don't think it has the headroom to do it. You could get a lot closer than, you know, with an old school style practice amp. But there's plenty of sounds there. There's plenty to work with. A lot of stuff that I'm not totally sure what to do with yet. But there is plenty to work with there. Hopefully the audio in this video turned out well. I've never recorded a bass amp before, so fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to reading everyone's comments. That's a big thing for me. I really enjoy everyone else's input and everyone else's opinions, even if, especially if they're negative. If you've got negative things to say, I want to hear about it. You're a bass player and you think there's, it missed a trick, or that I completely misunderstood something that I was doing, I want to know about it for the next time, So anyways, huge thanks to Sweetwater for indulging me, indulging my bass guitar dreams with the Danelectro Longhorn here and the Boss Bass Katana bass amplifier for bass guitar, which I thought from the beginning they should have come out with, and years later, they've finally done it. Is it living up to expectations? I had no expectations, so I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments. Support us on Patreon. Buy a shirt like this one if you're naked. And stay grounded. Bye, everybody.